Hey, everybody. So we're on emotional responses. When I listed it in the idea of the Auric program, I didn't really go into the homeostatic emotions. Just, I don't know. Sometimes I try to make it as straightforward as possible, but then at the same time, like to give deeper explanation, but going into the homeostatic emotions kind of opens up a whole another ball of wax. We have the emotions where we feel like love or something for other people, or our feelings get hurt, or things like that. But a lot of our emotional responses are based on our physiology, our nervous system, immune system, endocrine system. And I've talked about this a bunch, but it's one of those things that it's different than the way the everyday person thinks about emotions. Even in healing circles, it's different. And it's really based on what you would call homeostatic emotions. And basically, it's just your body generates emotions to help you thrive in the environment. Like if we're in fight flight, for example, if you're angry, you're going to fight better. If you're scared, you're going to run faster, right? So if you see a bear and you go, "Oh, there's a bear, I should probably run," versus, "There's a bear," you're going to run way faster, right? And so even the idea of there's fight, flight, and we're going to be going into freeze and fawn in the next class, the cultivating the mystic art, and start addressing things like that. And freeze is another way of saying like collapsing, or you just you know you feel um so overwhelmed you don't take action. And even the idea of procrastination can be a form of an emotional response. You're in the freeze mode. And fawning is overcompensating, people pleasing, and self abandonment. And even that sounds like behaviors, but that's still a kind of emotional response. It's still tied to, overcompensating and people pleasing. It's still an emotional drive that's like trying to avoid harm or trying to avoid things that have happened to us in the past. We're trying to avoid those things from happening again. And so, we generate these feelings of even like positive feelings towards somebody who might be treating us very inappropriately, but you like them because, or you express that you like them because if they like you, they might be less likely to hurt you, betray you, knock your feet out from under you, whatever it might be, right? And so we have all kinds of these emotional responses that it's not because of how we genuinely feel. It's because the body is feeling insecure, feeling afraid, uncertain, um, feels that something in the environment is threatening. So a lot of times it's based on the environment. But when we have old traumatic experiences, sometimes they still feel like they're happening. And so the environment might be 20 years ago, it might not be right now. But your body doesn't necessarily know, uh, that car accident is over, or that screaming lunatic boss that I had for 2 years, that was in a job 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or whatever it might be. And so our emotional responses can be very conditioned, and they just get stirred up because of little triggers in the environment, right? And we've been talking about that in the Astara practices and in some of the oil practices in the last few weekends, but really even the last few years. But, you know, one of the things that happens is our nervous system engages these like loops, right? It's tied to like the instinctive mind, it's tied to homeostasis. That's why this is called homeostatic emotions, is it's something that's a loop or repetitive, and the body maintains that. It's trying to protect itself. And so when you've had bad experiences in the past, part of what happens is, your body is always on the lookout for it to happen again, you know, and it is tied to survival. And in nature, it's a good thing to have. But when we're in society and things are a bit more refined and having to run from tigers and cheetahs and, you know, whatever might be out to get us, excuse me, bears, um, you know, our body hasn't gotten that memo yet. And we just have to temper the body. We have to keep tempering how the body perceives these things. And over a period of time, you can re-educate your body to be in a different place. That's part of working the nervous system so hard, so intensely. But here we're working it from the aspect of the aura, right? The programs in the aura. Remember, the aura and the auric programs are an energetic mold or blueprint that eventually physicalizes. So we want to establish a new, more upgraded version of the aura, right? That energetic mold or blueprint, right? So notice how you feel. Right? You're paying attention to your body, your emotions and feelings, and your thoughts. And we're using emotional elevation. And this is to specifically target these homeostatic emotions, these emotional responses. There's a big list of all the different things that it can impact. And keep in mind, I'm not saying that the emotions cause those issues, but a lot of times those issues will cause the emotional responses. It can go both ways, right? But like the last one on the list of conditions, if you look at vertigo, okay, your body has vertigo. If you think about it, your body feels unstable, it feels insecure, it doesn't feel like it can thrive in the environment. So then it starts generating emotion, right? It starts to generate emotion like, hey, I don't feel safe. I don't feel secure. I don't feel stable. Like something's going on. And it's because the inner ear is making you feel a little wonky. And so because of that, it's going to generate emotion, right? Same with pain. You have a little bit of pain, and the body is like, hey, red alert, something's going on. Pay attention to this part of the body. Something's happening. So I really don't judge whether the emotion aggravated the condition or is being produced by the condition. The emotion is there, it just needs to be addressed, right? So, with that, you're inhaling, your awareness is on the left side of the body. We're doing the standard approach. So you're doing the left side of the body, the whole left side of the face and neck, your left shoulder and ribs, your left hip, all the way down to the left outer ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. Your awareness is on the whole left side of your body. Now your awareness is on the front side of your body, your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, all the way down to the tops of your feet. Now, move your awareness to the right side of your body. Your whole right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, your right ribs and right hip, down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. And then the back side of the body. The whole back side. Back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, the backs of your legs to your heels. And then pause and be still. Now we're going to do the advanced approach. The standard approach is good for everyday use. It's good to integrate into some other process that you might be doing that's associated with homeostatic emotions or emotional responses. And it's also a good way to do stacks, where you take 3 or 4 or 5, different programs and stack them together and do like a deeper healing that's specific to a situation or things going on in your life. But here, the advanced approach is something that you do maybe once or twice a week. It's a deeper dive, and it takes a little bit for your energy body to process. So let's go through and do the advanced approach. So again, your awareness is on the left side of your body, from the side of your face all the way down to the left outer angle. Your awareness is on the left side of your body. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breath. Move your awareness to the back side of the body, the whole back side, back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. And then the right side of the body, the whole right side. Right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, all the way down to the right outer ankle. And then just pause. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the knees, the whole knee or the back of the knee, whichever one works for you. But long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the knees. The ankles. Your awareness is on the ankles. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The soles of your feet. Soles of your feet. Just let go. Okay. Let's begin the four quadrants again. Your awareness is on the left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, all the way down to the left outer ankle. The front side of your body, the whole front side, your face and throat, your chest, abdomen, all the way down the fronts of your legs to the tops of your feet. Right side of the body, the whole right side. The whole right side of the body. And then the back side of the body, the whole back side. Your awareness is on the right side of your body. And then the back side of the body, the whole back side. Back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. And then you're just letting go. How you feeling? Your awareness is on your brain. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the brain. Awareness is on your brain. Move your awareness to the spine. Your brain and spine both together. And then the brain and the soles of your feet. As you're inhaling, you're moving your awareness up above the ankles. As you're exhaling, exhale down into the earth. Your awareness just moves down into the earth. You're just letting go. You're letting go. You're being still for a moment. So you're checking in with your body, your feelings, your thoughts, and let's share experiences. You can share experiences, ask questions, process this, unmute yourself, type in. Go ahead and fire away.
And right now, we're just gonna do the art programming shares and questions, and then we'll go into the regular Q&A. I'll keep you guys posted when we transition. Yeah, go ahead, Dorothy.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Greg. I would say that the effect, I feel like it's calming. I mean, I'm still feeling it, like relaxing, sort of chilling, you know?
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah.
Your voice went down a couple tones. It sounds like morning Dorothy right now, probably. Like when you get up, you're like, ah, good for
Well,
you. Yeah,
it's
yeah, good.
still working, but I do have two questions. So
Sure.
I see you wrote on this list best used with sustained inhalation, comma, applied to the wrist or in a salt bath. So, um, what under what circumstances would you say I might decide, oh, I need to apply this to my wrist right now?
I would say it's not so much about like a symptom, like, how sometimes you just start getting, like we all do, we start getting like a little wound up, or we're having a hard time relaxing, or there might be things going on. I would say this is more like about kind of conditioning the body so that, the emotions don't get really stirred up, even in difficult times. And, Samantha was just sharing a thing a couple of days ago where, you know, it wasn't something that happened to her, but somebody was really like kind of really emotional. And she said normally in the old days she would have kind of gone there with her,
Yeah.
gotten worked up, and she was just like, oh, okay. Like, and she was just like she didn't have the emotional responses that mirrored that person's, you know, um, I don't even know that they were worked up about something. I think they're just kind of in that state a lot. And she was just like, uh, she was relaying an incident that had happened, and there was a lot of emotion about it. And Samantha was like, okay. And she just said it was like she was an observer. You know, and I would say that that's kind of what we're looking for. Of course, we're going to have emotions and everything, but the calmer that the emotional body is, the more that the heart gets activated. And it's not, sometimes the emotions may seem calm, but it's because we kind of have checked out, or it's the ability to be present with it, feel the emotions. And even if something arises, if you're a little bit less non-reactive, you kind of process through it, and it just bam, it just goes to the heart. And so I would say, it's probably more of a long game where you're, yeah, if you're going through difficult times, you might use it, but it's more of if you just constantly keep conditioning the body, that the emotions will keep staying calmer. And then when things arise from the past, or something, is presented to you, or, some weird situation happens, you've already done like the groundwork so that you don't have the crazy emotional responses that the situation might normally stimulate.
Oh boy, that sounds great.
Yeah,
What one other thing I
sure.
I see that I wrote in my notes, uh, it, that Greg likes this one, but
Yeah,
also,
yeah, yeah.
what I wrote was good tonic. So I don't know what that means other than do we
Body
take it in
tonic.
part? Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, body
gotcha.
tonic. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
It's a great body tonic. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the thing that's nice about the body tonic is, here we're doing sustained inhalations, but a lot of times the different Auric programs, it's like kind of the cheating way of doing it. Like you just go, I could sit for 20 minutes and inhale and do the whole thing, or I could just rub the body tonic on me and call it good. Salt baths are kind of that way too. Like if you do a salt bath with the oils that are in the programming class, then it's a way to kind of go through and process it. So for me, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll do the process here, and then I let it kind of cook for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I go take a salt bath with that same oil.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, do you know if the body tonic's on the side or?
If not, we could put it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay, that's great. Thank you
yeah.
very
It,
much.
it, I would imagine it is, but we'll have to check. I mean, I could actually check right now.
Well, don't worry about it. I'm
It's
sure
not. Okay.
I could
None
put
said
in a
it's not, but
request. if I
I
need
have
it.
a sneaking suspicion since you asked the question by morning, it will be on the site.
Okay. All right. Thank you so
Here's
much.
on.
And then we have some shares and questions in chat, but if you want to go ahead and raise your hand for regular Q&A at this time, feel free to go ahead and do that and get yourself in line. So some of
That
the
would be a good body tonic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we had very relaxed.
Good.
Someone's asking, what is in this oil blend?
Oh, that's a very good question. I thought, didn't we put ingredients on this? No.
Mm.
No, we didn't. Okay.
Robert, will you post the link for the regular emotional elevation? See if maybe we posted it with the regular oil. Oh, I have it here. Somebody shared.
Okay.
So I'll share it with everybody. Emotional elevation is neroli, Roman chamomile, Cape chamomile, St. John's wort, rose absolute,
Oh my God, it sounds delicious.
anise, cashmere lavender, and sitka.
I think I have to go and take a bath with this right now. That sounds delicious. You had me on neroli, by the way.
Oh, whoops, my last one I'll fix. Thanks, I needed this.
Yeah. Well, like as soon as we started doing it, we got about when we did the standard approach and we got to the front, the side, the front, and then the right side, Samantha goes, I have more energy. Usually she goes, I'm usually knocked out, but like all of a sudden I'm wide awake. But then towards the end, you got kind of more knocked out. Yeah, but it's like, because that's the thing is we think of emotion as being like, oh, I'm upset or I'm angry. But a lot of times it's just like a kind of weird tension in your body. And we didn't have a bad day. We had a very good day. We got a bunch of things done, but you were going from one project to the next, to the next, to the next, and just like this. And so, even in that, there's a little bit of emotion that gets generated that's not like angry or upset or sad, but it's just like, gotta get that done, gotta get that done, gotta get that done, gotta get that done. Okay, what about this? What about that? So it's like kind of, I wouldn't say deadlines, but you're just trying to get a bunch of goals done for the day. You have your to-do list and you go, okay, I'm clicking them off, I'm clicking them off. And the end result was that, the space felt better. We got a bunch of things out, like everything got done. It felt better to have all those things resolved. But still, the drive to get those things done, it does generate a little bit of emotion. And so it's not something that we ever really get away from, but we can keep it tempered so that it never gets out of control. But we're always generating some homeostatic emotion. It's just the nature of our physiology. Yeah.
This could be my new perfume.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got a couple of chamomiles in there that are real nice, the neroli, rose. Yeah.
Wouldn't this work to help an emotional person you were working with closely or sitting near?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It would help the person and it would help you with the person. You know what I mean? Like sometimes our emotions get stirred by other people's emotions. It's not always just us generating everything, you know? Yeah, but I would agree.
I think I would put this on my wrists if I had an unexpected emotional encounter with someone, or perhaps if I anticipated an encounter to be emotional.
Yeah. I would say that, and I'd also say, um, this is a joke that I make a lot around the office. I think this would be a good one for when I'm breathing, like when I'm inhaling and exhaling, meaning you gotta wear it all the time, you know. There's a bunch of oils that I was like, why am I not wearing this all the time? You know. So
All right, so that does conclude our ARC program journey for 15 here. And, oh, I just grabbed it again. Haha. Next week, have your endocrine support handy.
oh yeah.
So that'll be good for next week. Number 16, I'm apparently dropping bottles, so maybe I'm a little more space than I realized. And then we'll get started now with our regular Q&A. So you can raise your hand in the chat. You can type into any questions in chat. And then we're gonna start, go ahead, Linda, then Prompreet.
Hey Linda.
Oh, you know what? I lowered your hand. I needed to make it so you can unmute yourself. Give me just a sec. We're doing things a little different these days, so. Okay, there you go.
Okay, there we go.
Hey,
Great.
how are you?
Took me a little bit to come back from that one, I got to tell you. Ooh, that's amazing. I definitely want to work with that one more regularly. That was amazing.
Good.
So my question this evening, kind of a fundamental thing, because I'm
Sure.
introducing other people to working with the oils and the processes, and was asked the question, and I mean, I know kind of the answer, but I really was thinking I would like to hear Greg just talk about this. And
Sure.
the question is, um, why the exhalation through the mouth? We inhale deeply through the nose, but we recommend exhaling through the mouth. Why is that?
Yeah, so like two big reasons. You know, one like inhaling through the nose and then exhaling through the mouth, especially when you're doing more abdominal breathing, does kind of shift the nervous system and helps to regulate the nervous system and the stress response. And it makes it easier for the nervous system to begin to shift. If you're breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, it would still happen. It's just the mouth is a little bit better, you know, in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's just a little bit better at it. But the bigger one with the oils is that you're inhaling the oils. And so, you know, how you're smelling that scent is molecules are going into, you know, their sinuses and the respiratory tract, and they're hitting the respiratory tract and hitting the tissue, and then blood is passing through that area, and those molecules begin to mix into the bloodstream. And so even though we're inhaling, you know, and not applying to the body, it's still a very good delivery system for getting the molecules of the essential oils into the body and into the bloodstream. I mean, it's probably as efficient as putting it on the skin. And so, you know, if you inhale through the nose and then exhale back out through the nose, you're inhaling some of those molecules and then you're blowing them back out again. And so we want them to be able to kind of go in, and going out through the mouth, it just allows for more of those molecules to settle into the tissue and eventually reach the blood supply.
Okay, excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
So with the exhalation through the mouth, then that has a lot to do with the calming of the nervous system.
Yeah, you know, because that's the thing that makes essential oils work so well is the the sense of smell really helps the nervous system to shift. You know, we're wired for that. You know, like if we smell certain things in the environment, our brain is like, "Hey, this is dangerous. Don't drink that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Get away from here." You know, it's whatever it is. You're processing information through the sense of smell, and so out of all the senses, you know, I would say the sense of smell is very strong in the ability to shift like how we think. You know, like your eyes will go through and you'll look at things and it'll process the things that it's seeing. But like how you're thinking, you know, repetitive thought, maybe more um, in the intuitive mind where you're starting to relax and kind of have more sustained awareness. A lot of that is through the sense of smell. And so allowing for that inhalation down into the abdomen and then exhaling out through the mouth, it's like deeper facilitating that ability to shift. Because if you look at what stress is like anytime you're changing or there is a push out of equilibrium. But equilibrium isn't always like a positive thing. Like your equilibrium could be that you're managing a bunch of negative emotions and negative things in your environment, and you're kind of stuck in managing that. And so being pushed out of that, even though you're moving to something better, your body still goes into a little bit of a stress state because now it has to shift and change and reconfigure. So I go back to that idea of, your shoulder gets injured or tight or something, and you sleep on it wrong and it elevates. And if your body doesn't adjust, your head goes like this, your eyes aren't horizontal, and then it becomes hard to thrive in the environment. So your body makes these adjustments so that, your eyes become horizontal again, and you're able to walk and get around and have depth perception and all those kinds of things. So then after, a couple of weeks, a month, you go, I'm tired of my shoulder being up in my ear. So you do things to relax it, and your body kind of pushes it back. It was like, we made all these adjustments. So now if you push it down, now you're like this. So the body goes, no, let's push it back. So even in that place of healing, your body does go through a little bit of a stress response because you're making a shift or a change. And if your body is more aggravated in that stress response or more easily triggered or something like that, it becomes harder to heal something, and it becomes harder to make a shift or a change that is then maintained in the body. And so even those long, slow, deep breaths, you're increasing the body's ability to make a shift and like hold on to it.
Mhm. Okay, that's great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful help. Thank you.
Yeah.
One
And if you
question,
want, we can clip this out so that you have like a little clip that you can just go right to, right? We should be able to, yeah.
that would be great, because there actually is one about the inhalation and exhalation on your YouTube channel, but it doesn't play. It's just a black screen and nothing happens.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
didn't know.
FYI, in fact, I meant to shoot you an
Yeah.
email about that. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's great.
That
Now, one more
happens.
question here.
Mhm.
The emotional elevation oil that we just used,
Mhm.
how a couple weeks ago, I started really working more with Melissa as
Sure.
a system response, all those things you talk about with, Melissa. How does emotional elevation compare to Melissa in relation to what they're doing in the body? Like what's
Right.
about them?
So I would say you could look at it like a couple of different ways, but I would say based on like how we just did the Auric programming and everything, the emotional elevation was meant to like shift the energetic mold or blueprint. You're shifting um like the holding pattern in the energy body for you to still be in this just maintaining negative emotions or homeostatic emotions, or you're going, okay, instead of generating this much homeostatic emotion, generate this much. That is in the aura, the blueprint, the energetic mold that we call the aura, the auric program. um, the idea of working with like Melissa or Alay, or that blend Alay, you're dealing more with the physical body itself.
Oh,
So one is the aura, and then one is like the effects or mm, the
mhm,
drives of the body. And the thing with Melissa, like there's different oils that are very good at calming down emotional, homeostatic emotions. It's hard to top Melissa. Even, you look at the idea of like St. John's wort or something. St. John's wort is very good for cleaning out the emotions and cleaning up the thoughts and some of the instinctive responses and things, but it still kind of doesn't do what Melissa does. You know what I mean? Like, I used to make this blend. I did it herbally for a while, and then I made it with oils. But it was St. John's wort, Melissa, and then Valerian, and a very simple blend. But the St. John's wort has like a cleansing effect on instinct, emotions, and the mind. You know, it's very purifying, and so that's why it's very good for depression. It's very purifying. You know, and it's a blood purifier. I mean, it's just good on a lot of levels. And then the Melissa is very good for regulating the homeostatic emotions. And if we're starting to have anxiety or fear or anger, you know, anything like that, the Melissa is very good for calming things down. And it makes the emotional body and the heart like more resilient. Like it, you know, I used to kind of tell some of my friends who weren't too into aromatherapy, I was like, you know, there's a few oils that you should probably do. And I was like, the Melissa makes the heart more resilient. Like it, you can take a punch, you know, where, you know, it's when I was younger and, you know, some of my friends were breaking up with whoever they were with. And I was like, you got to take Melissa. You just got to take Melissa. And, you know, it wasn't so much for sadness or grief, but, you know, it was to minimize like that emotional response or that feeling of like this is going to be forever, or you know what I mean, because that is a very emotional uh a drive. That's not mental, that's it's not even really physical. It's just, you know, something bad's happening, it just feels like it's happening forever. It's the emotional body is too like expanded, and Melissa's very good for regulating all that. And then the Valerian is restorative, and it helps to reset the homeostasis. And so if the body is going through a chaotic state, or you know how sometimes you just feel like your tail spinning and you just can't pull out, like, you know, you're stressed out, you're not sleeping good, you know, the body's doing weird things and just the thing with Valerian is it is very good for just resetting the drives of the body and helping to reset homeostasis. And so, you know, if the body gets really chaotic, it's a thing that pulls everything together. And I'll give you an example of this is that if you have like chronic inner ear issues, you know, like where you get vertigo and you're starting to have like loss of balance and everything. If you do Valerian every night for like say 30 to 60 days, it will reset the inner ear. Like it just, you know, because a lot of that is tension in the neck and the way you breathe and your diaphragm, and but the body is just feeling chaotic, and so the breath is all off and it's making the muscles in your neck weird, and the muscles in your neck directly impact the inner ear. And so, you know, you start having balance issues, and walking a straight line becomes a little hard, and you know, you might have a little bit of vertigo. And so in acute cases of vertigo, you would use something like hyssop, or you know, larch, something like that, where you deepen the breath, you loosen up the neck muscles, and you're good. But when it's a very chronic problem, if you take it every night for 30 to 60 days, it will reset the inner ear. And even in orthodox medicine, you know, in the point of view of, you know, medications, that old school medication Valium is a synthetic version of Valerian. And even in the old days, doctors, like if you had a really bad inner ear issue, they would give you a really low dose of Valium, usually like 2.5 milligrams or 5 milligrams, and they would give it to you for 30 to 60 days, and it would reset the inner ear. So when somebody was getting older and they were starting to have that weird balance issue or weird inner ear issue, you would go through and treat it with that. And really what you're doing is you're restoring the body, you're restoring a balance or equilibrium in the body. And so Melissa does that emotionally, you know, where Valerian does it in your physiology itself. the Melissa does it in the homeostatic emotions. Like it just helps to hit that equilibrium again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So I would
Yeah.
say the combination, work
Yeah.
aura, then work the body. It's the whole idea of like, how, we did the deep dives on the aura and then we kind of stepped away so that we could do the deep dive and the vibrational healing. And really, if you bottom lined what is vibrational healing, it's really not looking at symptoms anymore, but it's looking at like, why are these symptoms arising? Why is the body not getting better?
Mm.
Why are these things there? Why are they happening? And so then you just start like kind of reconditioning the body to produce the kind of results that you want. And it doesn't mean that a symptom oriented approach isn't good, but a lot of times it can't. You might resolve something and then it comes back, or you feel better for a day and you can't sustain it. There's something in the vibration of the body. So if we look at the body is in more fight flight than rest and repair, the nervous system is imbalanced, the breath is off. You just start looking at things and going, okay, let's correct these things so that the body functions better. And as the body functions better, it also starts releasing things out that again goes back to the aura. So that's why when we're doing the Auric program in the first wave of things, I was like, do it before you do like your normal treatments. Like if you're treating like a gut issue, do the Auric programming, and then go through and treat your gut or treat your respiratory system or whatever it is. But when you start doing deeper work on the body, where you start going deeper into the respiratory system or into the digestive tract, then at some point you do the Auric programming after the fact because that stuff's expelling out of the body. And then you go through and you clear it out of the aura and boom, you affect like change.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very
You're
much.
so
It's very, very helpful. By the way, the little Valerian, I got the little roller ball you guys have, just the
uh-huh.
small one. I use that on my feet at night to help me with sleep.
Oh yeah. Even
Yeah,
just inhaling it,
I
like
can't stand the
on your
smell.
feet.
It's terrible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I put
I
it on
hear
my
you.
feet and I put
Yeah.
my socks on and it's far away from my nose.
It it really kind of smells like I really like the smell, but when I first started using it, I was like, it smells like dirty socks, like really bad dirty socks. And over a period of time, but like uh I used to have this broker who I would ask him to get me stuff. This is back in the early days when I didn't have distillers, so I would use a broker. And about once a year I'd buy a kilo of Valerian. And he'd always go, "Why are you buying Valerian?" Like it just was blowing his mind. And I was like, well, it's good therapeutically. And he was like, ugh, the smell, and he was an old timer. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Valerian and spikenard are chemically very similar. Like
Yeah.
very, very similar. And there was a period of time where Valerian was not on the market. And I use spikenard as a substitute. And Valerian's still a little bit better at the reset,
Mm.
but like in a pinch, if you don't have the Valerian, use spikenard.
Yeah. Spikenard's not one of my favorite scents either, but I use it because it's
Yeah,
medicinally good.
yeah, yeah. I hear you. Yeah,
All right. Thank you so
you're
much.
so welcome.
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Margo.
Hey, hey.
Oh, hi. Oh my God, so many things. The weekend was amazing. It was different than anything I've experienced before.
Yeah,
Like when we do the processes and, I drop the bottles and I go into this,
yeah,
naps but the weekend was just, and I felt it more, I think, on Saturday even than Sunday for some
yeah,
reason. But
yeah,
oh my God, it was like I dozed off or fell asleep or whatever, and it's like the feeling was like a very, very deep
yeah.
sleep.
Good for you. Your body needed that.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
and a lot of things came up. Like it was
Sure.
immediate. Like I closed my eyes and I saw all these like I was in the middle of a dream already, and some colors. It was amazing. So thank you.
Yeah.
And also working.
I mean, you bring up a very good point. You know, like um, it's an old, like, I don't know if I'd call it mystical practice or shamanic practice, but you like reach a state of stillness, but you're awake, and you know, you would observe a situation or a problem, and what they would say is, okay, now dream on it, which, you know, it's not like you can just call it up, but you go into a deeper state and you're like sitting up, like you're awake, but it's like you go into dream time, but you're, you know, you're sitting in a chair, or you're doing something, you're not really asleep, but you know, that ability to access that part of the mind is it's the problem solver. It helps to learn, it helps to evolve out of things, and it also does like a deeper level of kind of releasing things or pruning things. Like it's like, okay, we've thought about this enough, it's resolved. You know, it just starts cleaning house. And so like the more that you can hit that, the better.
Yes,
Yeah.
so thank you. That, and I couldn't even talk much that day. Like I
Yeah.
don't think I even cried. So yeah, it was really amazing. And I worked with that pattern with other things like the last couple of days, kind of experimented with that. So that was
Sure.
really good. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're so
Yeah, that was quite amazing. Okay, so I have some follow-ups. So my eyes, still
Mhm.
going on. I saw somebody else. She said the light therapy that I mentioned is not going to really be the best option for me. And also, I mean, St. John's Wort, they would have to wait like a month or two anyway. It's not the 3, but she mentioned I can do like a steroid shot, which can speed up the healing process. None of those things feel good to me. I still
Mhm.
see it resolving on its own. I don't know if there's something. One of the things they keep mentioning is antibiotics, which it's not for any kind of infection, it's for the inflammation.
Mhm.
So I've been doing black cumin. I actually do that like 3 times a day.
Mhm.
Been doing galbanum, eye bright, again 2 or 3 times a day because I think it can also help with eye inflammation.
Mhm.
Turmeric, ginger. Um, I don't even so I and then my body is more, more relaxed overall. I go to bed still super late, but I force myself to sleep more and I sleep really deeper, I
Mhm.
think. I have a
Mhm.
lot of the last couple of days, especially like so many dreams. And
Good.
um what am I missing something with the eye situation?
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, like you said, like the steroid would accelerate that process. So, you know, just keep reducing inflammation, and you know, the body, you know, can resolve that at some point. But yeah, yeah.
And as far as the black cumin, I mean, I remember I can't remember exactly what my body was going through, and you said to do like 6 drops three
Mhm.
times a day. Would you do that?
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, you're doing a lot of anti-inflammatory stuff, and you're putting helichrysum still on the temples.
I do that, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you're doing a bunch of anti-inflammatory stuff. You know, if you're wanting to increase, I mean, it's cortisone, but you know, Sylvester Pine on the wrist
I,
can help that. But I mean, I
I
don't know
was
that it would
wondering.
help the eyes. You know what I mean? It might,
Yeah, I
but
was wondering about that. And then, so I'm currently doing white pine. So would you just add the Sylvester for a different purpose? But
uh,
then would you add the
yeah,
Sylvester pine to that, or
I wouldn't do them together. I would do them separate.
so do like what different times of day, basically?
No, just put them on different parts of your body.
Okay. Oh, so it doesn't have to be the wrists, basically.
The Sylvester pine would be, yeah. The wrist,
And
the
the
tops of your feet, or your temples.
oh, so either one of these places I can just
Mhm.
okay.
You know, another place if you're needing is the back of your ears.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll do that. I was actually thinking about that and was
yeah.
wondering if it could help. No, okay, fine.
I mean,
Well,
it's worth
like
a shot. I'm not sure that it will, but it's worth a shot. I mean, you already have the oil. You can throw it in there, but I mean, you're doing all the anti-inflammatory things, and you know, you keep making sure that the body keeps going into more of a parasympathetic state, and you know, you're calming down the adrenals so that your body can fight inflammation better, and the lymphatic system is helping to clean things up. You know, sometimes it just takes a while.
yeah, I'm at 7 weeks now. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, and I do have to travel, which is, another.
yeah.
Um, and the thing is that even though I think, I mean, I am way more relaxed than I was before, but even though I think I'm not really like, oh my God, everything is wonderful. There's some kind of underlying stress still, like
Yeah, I
underneath
mean your
everything.
body's in a lot better place, but you still don't have quite the tone in your parasympathetic state that you do in your sympathetic state. So it's much better than it was. You know, when we started first having this conversation, your body was in such, you know, fight flight that, you know, it was hard for any healing to happen. And so your body has calmed down quite a bit. You know, the state of the nervous system, but it's still, the tone is still a little bit off. Like it's hard to give a percentage, but it's like maybe 20% difference where you kind of want them to be relatively equal. So I
Yeah.
mean, but you're doing all the things that push you there, you know what I mean? So I would keep doing the things that you're doing, but yeah.
Okay. And yeah, and I still do, on the other stuff, the adrenal support, the INS, the
Mhm,
at white pine and rosemary verbena and
mhm,
okay, doing all the things. Okay.
mhm,
So that's about my eyes. Then my back. So I mentioned, the red spot that I have going on, which we talked about. In addition to that, though, the last couple of days I've been in a lot of pain. Might have moved my body like a little bit differently, but I've been waking up with a lot of pain yesterday and today. Um, Again, I'm still doing the same things. I tried pain soothe. I tried
mhm.
birch compression.
Tell me what goes on though. Like you
Basic.
wake up, or like it's hard to stand up, or like what's going
I
on?
wake up and it's just a lot of pain on the bottom right side of my, yeah, on the back, basically the bottom right side. So it's fine, I can move, but it's just like constant, it's just very painful. So I can do movement, it's just painful, and I haven't had that in a while. And it's the rest of my body's
Did you
fine.
say you haven't had that for a while?
Yeah, I haven't
So
experienced
you
that in a
used to
very
have
long
it?
time.
You used to have it?
A while back when my back was, can't remember when it was so bad. Like every now and then I can wake up with something like that. I think I
That
might have
same spot? Same spot?
around that area, yeah. Because it's always the right side. I mean, I did, I broke the pelvis 20 years ago. And
That same
it's
side? You broke that same side?
well, I fractured both of them, but the right is worse. So the hips are always very tight, and especially in that
Mhm.
area. I think I might have done a
When's the last time you had an X-ray of the lumbar?
movement. Just can't even tell you.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, it's
And
been a
what
little.
about like when you broke your pelvis? You broke the big stuff, or you broke in around the head of the femur? Like what did you break?
That's another good question, which I have the notes somewhere, and I can't really remember like off the top of my head. It's one of those like it's all these like little things that concepts that are yeah.
When you walk in a straight line, you know, like you're walking like this is your feet. You're walking like this. Do you ever go like this?
I
Like
think
you
I
have to
want.
step out to the side to balance yourself for just a second.
No, but I can see how this leg might move tiny bit out, but not like in a way that's very noticeable.
Hmm. I mean, it sounds like there's something structural kind of going on. Like,
And
you're the red spot, you're treating that area, and it seems like it's not getting better, it's getting worse.
and
Uh,
it's and I might have moved my body in a way I'm not used to, and it triggered something. It's like if I, to do more stretches or whatever. So it's kind of that.
You've
Um,
been stretching?
I did some more stretches, yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
actually
also
probably wouldn't do that.
okay.
Like, I know it's like a lot of times it's a thing to do when uh, things hurt and everything, like maybe gentle yoga or something.
Yeah,
But um, a lot of times when you have an injury or something, the stretching can actually engage uh, like a response in the body. Like, it goes from relaxing the area to actually making it tense up even more. And so you would see it more in things where there's like scar tissue, where there's a severe injury, where there's like a muscle imbalance, you know, the idea of like doing real soft, gentle postures like in yoga, but with like a lot of slow, deep breathing, that could be very good. But like kind of the old school American stretches, I used to see like back in the day when I would be working with a lot of athletes that the ones that would start stretching a lot actually were more prone to injury because they were stretching too aggressively. And I would say if you do stretch really super passive, like really super passive, you know, like kind of how we're
mm.
talking about, like you're stretching it in a way where you're not trying to resolve something, you're just trying to bring the body back into balance. Like it's more about that than trying to like resolve something.
Yeah, and it was
Mhm.
something that was pretty gentle. It wasn't for the point of like pushing it, and yeah, and basically it's a fractured right sacral iliac and
Okay.
fracture right
Yeah. Makes
pubic
sense with the
ramus.
okay.
Yeah, see if I
All
can
right.
remember.
So I mean, could be I mean, it's odd that you're treating it and it's getting worse. So, I mean, there I go to like, maybe the stretches, but if there is a bunch of scar tissue there, that's as you're trying to alleviate this, there's still some sort of issue and all of that. I would treat it probably more with helichrysum in an ointment, like, and try
Which I've
just like low
tried.
back, the hip. It's not about pain management. It's about undoing the scar tissue. Like it's, you can, it will help it a little bit, but if you have scar tissue there, you gotta unwind the scar tissue. That the stretching, could be a coincidence, but the stretching and the back is doing worse, something's up.
I
There's,
think I really moved something that I'm not used to. It's probably that, but the fact that it's but it's yeah. Okay.
yeah, so
So
try that
then,
for a little bit. Yeah.
so you would treat the entire, because right now what I've been doing is lower back and the spine.
Treat the hips too. Yeah, put them
Okay.
in the hips.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I go a little bit down. Yeah.
yeah.
And for the pain, is there anything? Because I've tried, the only one that really seemed to move something was joint, what is it? The joint relief. It was
Yeah,
the
I mean,
only
if that's working for you, then I would go harder on that.
because
Yeah.
because because I know why, like no birch complex, pain suit, none of these really move anything. I don't know why.
Mhm. Do you like when the pain starts happening, do you ever go into a little bit fight flight or stress response or emotional response? Like, are you remembering trauma at all or anything like that?
Yeah.
Not remembering it in
Yes.
your mind, but like in your
Yeah.
body.
Now, so the thing that it's connecting to, it's yes,
Yeah.
yes to that, but not in a way of like seeing like the car hitting, not
No,
that.
it's like a body memory.
And it's also related to a lot
Yeah.
of things related to, because that's what came up, like a lot of stuff that's related to my mom as well, because there was a lot of grief that also came up the last 3 days or so.
Mhm.
So so something related to that, yeah, but a lot of emotional stuff that comes up, yes.
I would say double down on helichrysum. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because you're helping the body to shift out of like a stress state, and there might come a time where we even need to have you do a thing on the whole part of the somatic nervous system. But I would say, given the nature of the injury, I would treat it for a while with helichrysum, because when you start treating the somatic component of the nervous system, um, those body memories are going to come up.
Yeah.
And so start like sweeping the floors, you know what I mean? Like start cleaning it out so that when it comes up, there's like a pathway for it to release. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that came up actually.
Sure.
Yeah, the last few days, especially because we've been doing all this deeper work. So okay, so I'll do that. And then internally, I also added so there's two things here that I actually wanted to ask. Well, three things. So let's say I'm treating it with electrism as an ointment, and I'm also doing joint relief in an ointment. Would you do it in different times of day or one after
Yeah.
the other?
Yeah. No, different times of the day.
Okay. And then looking at, so I want to say I've been taking myrrh as well for the pain. Still very painful, but now it's actually better. So if I'm breaking down three wise men, right? So I have frankincense and myrrh. But would you do that? But for pain, you would use myrrh by itself?
No, you could do the three wise men or frankincense and myrrh. Yeah.
Okay. And then same thing for like inflammation, that you would
Yeah.
sometimes can add frankincense. So the three
Frankincense
wise,
and myrrh by itself. Yeah.
so the combination would still treat those things.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I went back and forth a little bit. So
Yeah. No, you're right on the money there.
okay, thank you.
We were treating this guy. He had a very bad endocrine issue, and we were using frankincense and myrrh combination to treat the jumpstart the endocrine system. And the thing that he came back, he goes, yeah, that's feeling better. But he goes, I didn't talk about it, but there was a bunch of inflammation in my body. It made that better too. Like that's the nature of frankincense and myrrh. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't sure. So thank
Like
you.
if you see, like if you go to the drugstore like CVS or something, they make a thing, like a topical thing for fibromyalgia, and it's just frankincense and myrrh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Fibromyalgia is like crazy inflammation in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all, and I don't know, maybe also the back is coming up now because I cleaned up other stuff and now it has room to like resurface. I don't know.
Yeah, and sometimes I mean that's why I was asking you about like if as things coming up in the body is sometimes as something that's been there for a while starts to go through its healing process, it kind of comes to the surface again. You almost kind of go back to the injury, because it's not that it wasn't there and then all of a sudden magically it's there. It's that your body had coping mechanisms in place so that your body wasn't feeling that, but the problem was there and the information was always going to your brain. And now that you're unwinding it, you're more consciously aware of it, you're feeling it. Like that really didn't change. It's just now it's registering. And so it sounds like for whatever reason, some things
Mm-hmm.
as you treat it, that it's gotten a little worse. Like something's going on. So it could be that, it could be the stretching, it could be that there's body memory going on there, but you just
Mm-hmm.
keep kind of pushing through. And yeah,
And
I had to do
it's
that a lot for my back. Because my back was like I twisted it really hard. And so
mm-hmm.
I got to where I couldn't even twist side to side um, because it would set off this weird response in my body. And so I looked like a zombie, like walking around. I couldn't like do that. But eventually it unwinds out of the body.
Mm-hmm. And it's making sense because there's a lot of emotional stuff that's related
Sure.
to the accident and all the time
Yeah.
around that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of stuff in my family and okay.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
And then just one more question. So, my brother-in-law broke his ankle, like an open fracture a few months ago.
Mhm.
Had a few surgeries. He has some metal in his leg. It's healing pretty well. He's walking now. Can't
Mhm.
drive yet, but he mentioned that he still has, I mean, the foot is painful. Like he has some pain sensation. He has some other like sensations, like I guess nerve type of things. A little bit of like pins and needles type of thing. So
Mhm.
what would be, and he's massaging it every now and then. And he asked me what to do. And he has, but because I'm going so I can get him more things. He has marjoram body tonic, so I told him he can use that. He has
Yeah.
pain soothe, but
Yeah.
what else?
Marjoram would work, but like you're dealing with a lot of scar tissue there, like a lot of scar tissue. So again, I'd go back to the helichrysum and I would go back to 3 or 4 drops of galbanum a couple of times a day, either on the wrist or internally, and the black cumin internally. Again, you're dealing with an injury site. And so it's not just that there's pain. The pain is coming from the injury, the scar tissue, like he had surgery. So, nerves sometimes go to sleep and then come back online. There's a bunch of mechanics there that I would even say, even though he's probably had like, screws and things put in
Yeah.
plates and things like that, that some Solomon seal, the tincture.
And I didn't know there's a tincture.
Yeah, it might not be on the side.
I
It's
actually,
definitely made it, but
I
it,
actually left him the pills to
yeah,
take.
yeah, but pills would be the
I,
same.
I left him pills to take. I don't know if he's doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it would help. It's not going to completely resolve things, but it will help the bones and the connective tissue. And then the other thing is, because of the injury, he's going to be very prone to arthritis, calcium deposits.
Mhm.
So things put on there like eucalyptus citrodora or lovage, arthricare, things to keep down the potential or the tendency for those areas to develop calcium deposits or spurring, which is just the joint trying to minimize. It's the body's ability to try to minimize movement of that joint to prevent further damage. It doesn't realize like, hey, a surgery's been done to prevent this. It just knows like, that happened. And so, like on injury sites like that, a lot of times you'll start to have spurring or calcium deposits because the body is trying to make you not move that joint as much. So, be it that it's in the ankle, he's going to start developing most likely a bunch of spurs in the heel of his foot. So, again, eucalyptus citrodora, lovage, things like that. All of that will be helpful.
So then, okay, so the salmon seal basically, so the tincture does the same thing as the pills.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good to know you have that. And then as far as all the options that you mentioned, in a perfect world, the person that's like gonna do what you're telling them to do, you would just alternate all of these options?
Yeah.
And if
And it
the
doesn't have to
person,
be every day. It's like one day you might do one of them, another day you might do
and
it, but definitely rotating them. Yeah.
and if I'm looking into like, okay, I need to simplify because the person is not going to do so much, let's say I need like a couple of things, so like three, something that would be just easier for him to actually follow through.
I would do the helichrysum and then the galbanum and the black cumin.
And the helichrysum you would do as an ointment
Ointment
on
topically
the feet.
on the ankle, the foot, and even a little bit up into the leg,
Yeah,
the lower
okay.
leg. Yeah.
And then so you would use that as opposed to using, I guess similar to what you told me, you would use that as opposed to using like one of the pain blends.
Yeah, because you're dealing with scar tissue. Like
Okay.
you know, it's not just about pain. You're
Yeah.
having to unwind the mm, the damage that's been done to that connective tissue. And so just pain relief is like more of a short-term approach. You're going to have to unwind, because a lot of times that's going to change the way he walks. That's going to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's, it's a serious injury. And so a lot of
Yeah.
times there's going to be very little movement in that ankle
Mm-hmm.
and going to be poor circulation. There's going to be a lot of scarring, a lot of connective issue
Mm-hmm.
problems in that ankle. And then we don't really think of it, but the lower leg and the calf also play a role in the ankle
Mm-hmm.
injuries.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna have to treat the shins and the calf, and he'll start probably losing a little bit of muscle mass and not have the flexibility. So there's going to be a little bit of a circulatory issue and a little bit of a lymphatic issue. And helichrysum really kind of addresses a lot of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
while treating the scar tissue itself.
Okay, and the pain
Yeah.
is, and that's a missing link for me with my thing and with this one as well, like the
Mhm.
scar tissue as opposed to like let's treat the pain.
Right.
And then just last question, as far as galbanum that we do on the wrists, would you do really galbanum and like on the top of the feet? Would that be as helpful?
It doesn't matter where you put it as far,
Okay,
yeah, it doesn't need to be near the site as long as you just get it on the body.
as long as, okay, because that might be easier for him to do and to like, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
trying to like simplify things with things that
sure.
he's actually gonna do.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect. Thank
I
you
have
so,
relatives. I have relatives. I know what you mean.
yeah, so it's like the fact
Right,
that he's
right.
asking me, it's great, and the fact that he's open to doing it, it's a good first
Mm,
step.
yeah,
Now we need to like, it's the same thing as with the Solomon seal, which, that's why I left him the pills and
yeah,
I told him what to do with that.
yeah,
I'm probably gonna show up and it's still gonna be there. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. Thank you so much.
You know, relatives are relatives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Margo.
Hey, Michael,
Hi,
how
I
are
have
you?
a skin question, and I
Sure.
did do the class a week back, but I
Uh-huh.
had to miss some parts of it, so I'm not sure whether you may have addressed what I'm thinking about. It's I'm not quite sure how to say it. Seborrheic dermatitis. Do,
Okay. Yeah, so it's like red and
well, it's actually it bumps. There are bumps. I mean, and
oh, so you get the little bumps, like the little cysts.
yeah, I mean, I have a pretty heavy infestation of it, and it's particularly where clothing hits my body. It's not, I mean, I think there are some on my face, but that's not the
But
major.
it's like a little kind of
Absolutely,
hard
yeah.
to, yeah.
Some
So
are
so
crunchy, and
the thing that we've used on that, and it takes a little while, but it does break them down over a period of time, is there's an oil called Thuja.
I
And
have Thuja.
yeah, so just start putting it on those spots like daily. Like if you can do it a couple times a day, great, but at least once a day. And over a period of time, it does reduce that somewhat. You know, there's times where it will make them completely go away, but it will definitely reduce them. You know, because there's really even in modern medicine, there's not really a great solution for that. I think they either drain them with like a syringe, or sometimes they cut them out. Like, you know, they'll make like a little incision and pop that out. And so we've had a few students have had those issues, and we used Thuja. Did we try Arborvitae? I think we just did Thuja.
I think just Thuja.
Yeah, I think it was just Thuja. And over a period of time, they did say that there was a change. Yeah.
I guess I'm pausing because I mean I have like just like a field of them, you know, like
Yeah,
where
like if
clothing
where clothing hits,
can,
like
yeah.
boy, I wonder if let me think about that for a second. I mean, the Thuja would be to get rid of them, but let's maybe try to stop the production of them as well.
Well,
Is
and
is
itching.
your skin real oily and then dry in other areas?
Um, I guess I would think it's more dry than oily.
More
Well,
dry than
although in those particular areas it might be kind of oily.
oily? I would probably try like um like a lotion or a body tonic or salt baths with spikenard. You know,
Okay.
you could even put a little bit of spikenard on, but I would say, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be neat. Like you just like can kind of consistently put it on the body. And the idea would be that the spikenard has like a balancing effect on the skin.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you could always rotate something like carrot seed or parsley, but for something like that, I like the idea of trying to balance the skin out. And there is a little section in that class about balancing the skin,
Hmm.
you know, skin imbalances. And,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so, but, you know, traditionally I would just like throw spikenard at it right off the bat. And then, um, you know, still treat those areas with thuja and everything. The carrot will help to jump starts like sluggish skin. And the other thing that you might want to throw at it is some helichrysum just to open up like congestion in the skin. And so, like, I don't think there's going to be one thing where you go like, this is the magic bullet. The
Hmm.
Thuja's going to break down the cyst, but you know, like when you go outside and it's hot or you exercise, um, do you sweat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so sweating's not an issue. And uh, how do you feel about like skin turnover? Like, do you need to like brush with a loofah or a brush on the body to kind of exfoliate and get some of the dead skin off, or there seems to be good skin turnover?
I can't say that I've paid much attention to it.
You
I
might even want
haven't.
to think about that a little bit.
Uh,
Is like just go get like a cheap loofah at like the,
mhm,
whatever store, like health food store or
mhm.
probably Walmart or something would have them. And just, do a little bit of like, you don't even have to go to the sites, but just start kind of cleaning, like scrubbing the skin a little bit. And, because skin congestion can also be just like the skin cells aren't shedding like quite like they should. And so, like, manually just kind of jumpstart that for a little bit with like a loofah
Okay.
or a brush. You know how they have those bathtub brushes or
Right,
something on
right.
a long handle, you can get to your back and all that. I do something like that. You don't have to do it daily, but like maybe
Mhm.
once a week or twice a week or something while you're in the shower, just take a couple minutes and just, you don't even have to do your whole body. Just like, okay, last week I did my shoulders. Now I'm going to do my back. Now I'm going to do my abdomen, and next week I'm going to do my legs, just kind of hit
Right.
different spots.
Yeah.
And I think the more that you just kind of treat these different areas of the skin, it should be helpful. But the spikenard is probably going to be the big one for you.
Which I should do like probably neat. most,
No, you could do it in a body tonic. You could do it in a
okay,
lotion. You could do it in a salt bath.
okay.
You kind of want to be able to cover the whole body, and so neat wouldn't be super practical. And so, you could probably do an ointment too, but I kind of like the idea of like a body tonic or
Mhm.
like a bath, even if you don't put salt in it, just like a bath, and you put like 12, 15 drops in and really splash it around, and then get in and do the bath that way. Yeah.
Can't actually do baths. I don't have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bathtub.
Oh, you don't have a bathtub?
Right, right.
Um, try the body tonic then.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Dermatologists have said that there's nothing that can be done with.
It's a tough one, but we have gotten results with it. It's
Yeah.
it's not something that goes away overnight, but a lot of times, like I have like little tiny ones on my forehead, and I start to treat them and I get sidetracked, but my dad has really big ones on his forehead, and you know the putting the thuja on does make him go down and eventually something, but I would treat the different aspects of the skin while you're doing the thuja.
Okay.
Yeah.
What causes them?
I can't remember. I want to say it's like a blockage, like some
Mm,
sort of like
mm,
it's overproduction or something gets caught in the pore, you know.
uh-huh.
We have a friend who's uh what did she do?
Well,
Like she does like facials and all kinds of things. And so I was asking her about it, and she goes, "Yeah, the doctor just, drains them or does something." And so, you know,
It's not like there's something to be drained. There's,
yeah,
I mean, they're solid.
yeah,
Some of them are crunchy.
yeah. That would probably be something that they cut out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would treat it with the Thuja. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Thank
Same
you.
with skin tags. You put Thuja on it and eventually they dry up and fall off. And
Okay,
yeah.
great. Thank you so
So keep
much.
keep us posted. Like do that for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then let us know how it's going, and maybe we can talk it through and maybe make adjustments.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
and then go ahead, Denise, then Chris.
Hey.
You have to, there you go.
Hi, Greg. I've had the worst time the last almost 2 weeks where I keep waking up almost every hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm not sleeping very much.
Mhm.
So I was wondering,
Are you under a lot of
would
stress? Are you under a lot of stress?
um, I actually had thought in some ways, I was finding some better ways to self-regulate in some ways,
Mhm.
but with my son, it's up and down because he got hit with a car. I mean, it's always something, Greg.
How
It
long ago
really
did you get
is.
hit with the car?
Someone hit him with a car and they yelled vulgarities at him. And I know he was in shock because he just kept saying to me, they didn't stop. They didn't stop.
How
And
how long ago did that happen though?
uh, not last week or
Okay.
within the last 8 days, 8 or 9 days. Yeah. So it could be around that. You're right. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it's
as
probably
mom,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's your his mom. Of course. It's
Yes.
upsetting. It's upsetting that happens to anybody, but especially somebody you love. Um, okay. Um,
I was wondering if ANS, like if I took it or the
yeah, I
ginger.
mean, that might help, but I would say that you're in a little bit of a fight, flight kind of thing, even though it didn't happen directly to you, it's still upsetting, and when you were saying it, I was looking at your adrenals and they are a bit overactivated. And so you know, I would say a couple different things to try. Like normally like tarragon would be one. If you have benzoin, like some long, slow, deep breaths with benzoin. I think that could be helpful. Jasmine could be helpful. Again, long, slow, deep breaths, and you're trying to pull the body out of that fight, flight mode. Putting marjoram on the body, You know, you can put it on the feet or on the abdomen, maybe on the solar plexus. That would be good. Like 4 or 5 drops just neat on the solar plexus at night. That will help pull your body out of, you know, fight flight somewhat.
And
I'd
Melissa,
also,
maybe
yeah, Melissa was always a good choice. Melissa's a good choice just because we're human beings. You know what I mean? It's just, oh my God, it's just, how do I not get through a day without Melissa? But also, I would say etheric chords, like inhale the etheric chords. You know, because I think some of what you're feeling is also what he's feeling.
thank you very much. And
Yeah.
inhale etheric chords, right?
Inhale the etheric chords and think of him.
Oh, thank you.
Like as you inhale it, think of him.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you
You're
very
so
much.
welcome. And then keep us posted, okay? Let us know that like you're feeling better or you're not or whatever. Some version of that should help, but you know, keep us posted.
I'm sorry, I just have it so people, once they mute themselves, they can't automatically mute themselves. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey,
Thanks, Sam. Hey, Greg. Can I ask you to look into this person that I'm going to be seeing? He's 42 and he's been suffering from adult acne for about 26 years, and he also has stomach issues.
okay. So
I'm
he's
wondering what,
acne just on his face or all over his body?
I think primarily on the face.
Yeah. So you know, I do like blood cleansing because a lot of times, like if you look at acne, you either have like a hormonal issue or the body is trying to do like an emergency detox, like it's trying to push something out of the body. And
Mm,
so, you know, it could have like imbalance with skin and things like that. But again, that's probably more hormonal. And so you can start with like using a tincture of like echinacea. Echinacea has a good effect on cleansing the blood. You can have him use things that are helping to stimulate uh, detoxification, you know, so things that like what would be a good one for him?
are you talking about like a protocol?
Yeah, yeah. But like on the lungs, liver, gallbladder, kidney, spleen.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, the organs of
mhm.
purification. Gotcha.
But it's probably the big one is going to be you know, cleaning up the skin itself. Like he does look like he has a bit of a hormonal imbalance, but his body's also a bit toxic. You know, that he's having digestive issues. Um, that also shows that there's an imbalance in the nervous system, you know, the autonomic nervous system.
Uh-huh.
You know, a lot of times we talk about that rest and repair mode, you know, the parasympathetic part of the nervous system is lacking tone. But I'd say that even his sympathetic part of his nervous system is lacking tone, and that's also throwing the body off. And so things like rosemary, you know, like ANS support, rosemary, anise, tarragon. You could throw ginger into that mix. All of those would be good for for his digestive tract. You know, it's basically like you would call it a stress plague digestive tract. You know, you have that
Oh, okay. So
combined.
taking those internally.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he could do them in inhalation, but internal would probably be faster.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And then, okay,
mhm.
go ahead. Sorry.
He looks like there's been a lot of stress.
Yeah. And then, Greg, you know the protocol, the advanced protocol. Would you recommend that for this situation?
The advanced protocol of
For no, pH in the book
the what?
for pH pranic healing.
But what are you asking?
You know the protocol in the advanced book for there's one for pimples. Is that would you recommend that?
I mean, you could try it, but I mean, it's not acute. It's more of a chronic thing. He's had it for so long. I don't think that's gonna probably do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
he's got a lot. It looks like he has either stressful situations that are either active or in the past, near past, or traumatic ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you know, I have that kit for the organ miners. Would you recommend that for cleaning
Oh
up the
yeah.
organs?
Yeah, use that. Yeah, why don't you give that a shot?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That would
I
totally
will.
be good. Yeah. I forgot we put that out to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used it
Yeah.
once,
Yeah.
so
Oh man.
might as well
Like if
use
you
it
use it on
again.
a regular basis, man, it's amazing. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Those are some of those
Do we
things
have?
out of my personal practice. I don't always remember what we've given you guys and like put out there and but yeah,
Yeah,
that stuff's amazing.
yeah. I keep looking at it. It's like I need to do that along with
Yeah.
4 other classes I haven't touched.
Right. Right, I know.
I'm so behind. Do I have a couple more minutes?
Yeah, we have a few more minutes.
Okay. Do you mind just checking into my right ankle? You know how I sprained it back in December. Sometimes it would just like kind of act up. I feel it's all better, but then it's kind of can be quirky
Like
on and
quirky
off.
in that it swells, or it's like hard,
Like
like it doesn't always like.
hard and almost like it's not even I can't even say it's painful. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would treat your shin and your calf, especially the outer part of the calf. Like if you went down the back of the leg and drew it like a line down the back of your calf, the outer part of the calf, that whole side. Eventually, you'll come back around and need to treat the opposite side. But with a rolled ankle, you really kind of strain there's these muscles that run along the side of the leg called the peroneus. Like there's just these long, thin muscles. And then the anterior tibialis, which is that big muscle that runs along your shin, and then the
Uh-huh.
lateral part of the calf. And even though the area has gotten better, um, it's like you have a strain in that area that, it's 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 better, but it's still there. It's like still in the connective tissue. So,
Gotcha.
you could probably even just like marjoram might work on that area, like several nights in a row. Um, or you could use something like spikenard or vetiver or myrrh on the whole leg, because the thing that can happen as you roll the ankle, you have one side that got elongated and then the other side starts to contract, like the inner part of your calf,
Uh-huh.
on the other side, it kind of contracts. And so applying that on both sides begins to balance out the two sides and the muscle imbalances while still relaxing the muscle. So marjoram, like spikenard, myrrh, something like that, in an ointment. I would do it in an ointment.
Okay.
You could throw a little helichrysum on it from time to time, but it's probably going to be more about the marjoram and the spikenard or the myrrh.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
Now that makes sense why
yeah,
my legs started cramping along the
yeah,
shins on the
yeah, yeah,
outside.
yeah, yeah,
What is this? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. It's all related.
It's yeah, like um a lot of times, like if somebody rolls their ankle, if you can treat it really quickly on the shin, you'll undo a lot of the pain like immediate, but like after a couple of minutes, then you're into the injury. You know what I mean? Like if you get to it right
Uh-huh.
in the moment, like you can unwind it before it really starts doing what it does. It's kind of like a burn. Like if you treat a burn immediately, you're good. But if you treat it 2 minutes later, it's already blistered. You know, the
Uh-huh.
rolling the ankle can be that way. And so, that anterior tibialis, that big muscle that kind of runs along the shin, if you treat that a bunch, a lot of times that will resolve a lot of it, but it's still a little bit in the peroneus and that lateral or outer part of the calf muscle.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eric.
And even like when you're applying some of that stuff, rub some of it on the Achilles tendon a little bit. You know how like the tendon's there, like rub it on and then rub like each side and kind of push on it a little bit. Hold it for about 10 seconds, like with your thumb. Like if this is the tendon, go and just like kind of push on it for about 10 seconds and then let it up. And it will take some of the tension out of the calf. Because if you get real sensitive with palpation, you can actually palpate the tendon and you can feel like the different areas that it goes up and starts spasming up in the calf. Like it will come down into that tendon. And so you can kind of almost like tell, like, oh, I need to go over here. This side's a little weaker. This side's a little like thicker and has more scar tissue in it. And so you can kind of follow it up into the lower leg. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And then we have a handful of questions in
Yeah.
chat. Do you want to even try one?
I can try one. Yeah.
Okay. Will there be a class using the Reiki kit and symbols? I have the attunements and would love such a class, a refresher.
We made those for somebody, and so I just thought, oh, might as well throw them out there. I hadn't planned on a class, but it doesn't mean it's off the table. Um, you know, uh, so possibly, yeah. We hadn't really thought it out that far. We sometimes people reach out to us and we make special things for their modality or something like that. And that was just one of those things. And so I thought, man, there's a bunch of people do Reiki. The idea would be it would enhance the empowerment, it would enhance the processes, it would strengthen the attunement. And I would say those oils are as strong, usually, as most practitioners' ability to give an attunement. And so, it would definitely be a way to amplify, yeah, your practice. But
I think so. If we didn't get to your questions tonight, please email us and so we can get you that way, or join us again next Tuesday and try again. And I just posted the link to Bless the Star prayer petitions. Love for you guys to join us.
and if we don't get a chance to see you, happy Easter.